Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Black Logic. In a recent development, former White House Chief Strategist Steve Bannon criticized Elon Musk's stance on the H-1B visa program. Bannon argues that Musk's support for the program undermines the American workers by favoring foreign labor. This debate highlights the ongoing tension between the promoting innovation through skilled immigration and protecting domestic employment opportunities. This may become a problem because Steve Bannon is a large voice within the Republican Party, with his commentary, with his rhetoric, with his show, with his platform all together. So this is going to be very significant because a lot of people who are speaking within the so-called MAGA crowd or the MAGA clan within the Republican Party are raising red flags about this, that they're now prioritizing legal immigration. They said, no, we're not prioritizing illegal immigration. Of course, we're trying to mass deport all these illegal immigrants inside of America. But now the language is starting to change as if we're going to give them a fast pathway to citizenship. Well, are you going to deport them and then allow them back in, or you're going to try to give them green cards and naturalized citizens? Or what are you going to do with the current illegal immigrants inside the country? Again, you told the American people that you're going to mass deport them. Then we've heard talks with Trump referring to in support of DACA in some regard. So again, the more we unfold you this debacle, a lot of the claims that we're going to deport a lot of illegal immigrants, again, which I was for, because again, this is a threat to America. Whether they are violent or unviolent, because we essentially need to know who's in our country. And the Democrats should have never allowed and created loopholes or more loopholes in our immigration policy, which again, we're stemming from the issues and problems of today. Of course, there's a lot of immigrants in America. Some people say that America is a country of immigrants, not necessarily. America was founded, started, and created by mainly three different groups. Okay, and I know this is argumentative when it comes to the Western European group, but most likely it was the British, African slaves, my ancestors, 1,000 years past, as well as the Mongolian red type Native Americans that founded this country. And when you refer to the African slaves, we have to understand that the history of Black people in America doesn't stem from 1619. It stems from 1526. And I know you guys been hearing a lot of rhetoric about some sort of group or organization named FBA. FBA is not a group. FBA is not an organization. FBA is not a company. FBA is just stating what your lineage is. When people hear the term African American, okay, that was essentially given to us by not something that we have normally accepted. That's why you hear a lot of Black Americans say that we are Black Americans, or we just simply say we're American. Again, when we do the demographics of things, people are going to put a color on it. But FBAs, it means foundational Black American. It's really that simple. So again, we're going to follow this story to see whatever turns out from those comments that Steve Bannon has made. NASA's Parker Solar Probe has successfully completed a perilous journey through the sun's corner, coming closer to the solar surface than any previous mission. This achievement provides unprecedented data on solar winds and magnetic fields, offering insights that can improve our understanding of space, weather, and its impact on Earth. Well, they're basically saying that this probe somehow touched the sun, and I don't believe they mean physically. I just mean that they came very, very close to it, because it states here, in a groundbreaking feat of space exploration, NASA Parker Solar Probe recently achieved its closest ever approach to the sun, coming within just 3.8 million or 6.1 million kilometers of the star's surface, or 3.8 million miles. Now, to us, that's a very, very, very long way away, but we have to understand that the Earth is even further away. And look how some of us get sunburned. See how the sun affects us in our everyday life. So that is essentially very, very close. This is intriguing. I told you guys, I'm intrigued with space altogether. Okay, the space is vast. We believe that space is infinite because we can't see an end and we can't see a beginning. So again, right now, the only evidence we have is that we can't measure it. So right now, it's infinity, is infinite. So again, That's something to look at as well. A recent report sheds light on systematic issues within law enforcement, revealing how certain police practices disproportionately affect women, the economically disadvantaged, and the homeless. The findings call for comprehensive reforms to address these deep-seated problems and promote equitable treatment for all citizens. And it states here that the vast majority of law enforcement officers in this country perform their very difficult jobs with respect for the communities and compliance with the law. I would like to believe that majority of police officers are good, but unfortunately you have a strong nucleus in certain pockets of America that give police a bad rap with people who they encounter with the most. Now, it goes on to state that these laws cover the actions of state, county, and local officers, including those who work in prisons and jails. In addition, several laws also apply to federal law enforcement officers. The laws protect all persons in the United States, citizens and non-citizens. But they're kind of just going over the act and they're tracking Department of Justice of all the things police are doing and harming women, the homeless, and some people who are disadvantaged disproportionately. What they're referring to is people who live in low impoverished areas. And unfortunately, the majority of those people are Black. So again, they're looking at women, Black people, as well as homeless people. But again, this is nothing new. The fact that someone's now tracking it is going to mean a lot, because we're going to have verifiable, tangible proof, more so than we have already with the DOJ, by the way of the FBI as well. So we should be looking out for that. Now, elderly Americans collectively owe $121 billion in student loan debt, a burden that significantly impacts their financial stability during their retirement. Advocacy groups are urging the Biden administration to provide targeted relief for those borrowers, emphasizing the need for policies that consider the unique challenges faced by older adults. So yeah, they're basically asking Biden for those seniors, primarily over the age of 65, receiving Social Security, to cancel their debt, all $121 billion of it. And I know that a lot of people in the Republican Party, the conservative-minded people, will say, like, no, you voluntarily went to go get that degree to work in the economy, make your money, buy a house, live the life that you're living. But now you want a government handout. Now you want government assistance. Now you want government welfare to pay for the debt that you knowingly and consciously signed up for. And now they're crawling foul. Now they're crawling foul on this. And again, if you are a senior, if you're someone over the age of 55, 60, and you still have student loan debt and you know that you're not living your best life, you may be all for it. But they're definitely calling these things out. An immigrant aspiring to join the U.S. military is navigating the complex process of attaining American citizenship. His journey underscores the challenges faced by non-citizens who are eager to serve the country, highlighting broader discussions about immigration policies and military recruitment. Here's the thing. I serve with a lot of people from all different countries: Japan, Korea, Indian, Bangladesh, Nepal. I serve with them all. Here's my question. So we have 13 million illegal immigrants inside the country and possibly climbing. Would you guys look at illegal immigrants if they were to join the military, if they were to join the Coast Guard, the Army, the Air Force, the Marines? And we did all the background checks that we can do. We assured that they wasn't gang affiliated to the best of our ability, the mafia, the cartel, etc. Because again, you're not going to know until you know when it comes to some people's backgrounds. Because again, a lot of people, when you get into security clearances, you know, they check where you live. They talk to your friends and family. They want to make sure that you don't have any ties to any foreign entities, or they just do a full background check before you get your security clearance. But for regular military personnel, you know, they just kind of do a very brief background check. So again, my question to you is, if they did an extensive background check, would you guys be for illegal immigrants joining the military and plus in our ranks? And the reason why I'm asking this is because when I look at China military is so large. For every 1 American military personnel, they have 10. They have 10. And we're talking about what we have, advanced technology. Don't forget that China makes the shells. They make the prototypes. They make the very basic foundation. Now, they don't have the software technology that we've created, but they are creating our shells and our prototypes and whatever we're using to download that software into. So essentially, I would like to believe they have the technology to a certain degree. Just the other day, I came out with a story on a broadcast that China just released a stealth fighter that's more advanced than the F-22 as well as the F-35 fighter jets that we have. So again, if we ever get into a conflict or dispute, we're going to need more people. Our technology is only a crutch for so much. It will help us out for so much. If it ever comes down to ground troops, just know it's 10-1. And supposedly, even though we have nuclear capabilities, we have nukes, supposedly we are not going to use them in war anymore. And I wouldn't want us to, because, man, the amount of damage that nukes actually cause. And I know the question you're going to ask, what if China was about to invade ground forces, and before they did, we have the opportunity to drop a nuke to stop them right in their tracks? Then my mind will have to go to my family, my friends, and then Americans all together. Well, if that's going to save American lives, that's going to save my family, I have to be very selfish with that. I'm going to speak the truth. Then I'm going to have to swallow the bullet. I'm going to have to sell some Hail Mary and grace. I'm going to have to pray. I'm going to have to face the east and put my hands up and just ask for forgiveness, because that's what's going to have to happen. That's what my mind is. In response to bureaucratic obstacles and denials from health insurance companies, community has rallied together to crowdfund a bionic arm for a child in need. The grassroots efforts reflect growing public dissatisfaction with the current healthcare system and its impact on vulnerable populations. Of course, this is going to be a big story. After Luigi Mangione shot the CEO, one of the CEOs of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson, in the back, allegedly. So healthcare is definitely going to be on the chopping block when Donald Trump and Elon Musk, as well all the appointed cabinet, get into office. And we're going to see if they're going to keep this sort of capitalistic sort of healthcare system that in some regards the Democrats had some good ideas. Again, this is why I play neutral, because both sides sometimes have good ideas, good programs, but they never want to play nice with each other. This so-called bipartisanship they always talk about. Every now and again, you'll get a couple of Democrats to vote on some conservative bills that's good for the country. Every now and again, you get some conservatives to vote on some Democratic bills that's good for the country. I believe that the insulin thing, marking that down to $35 compared to other countries, is still expensive, but nonetheless, it's helping out people in America. But again, no one's voting on one policy alone, and that's why Donald Trump won. And again, I hope he does the right thing by America. This is some of the things that a lot of us want. Definitely when it comes to medicine, pain medicine, prescriptions, all of those things that people need either daily or weekly to live, they should definitely be at the lowest point that they can actually fathom. Israeli defense forces are reportedly strategizing for a possible confrontation with Houthi rebels in Yemen. This development indicates a potential new front in regional tensions with implications for Middle Eastern geopolitics and security dynamics. Again, Netanyahu, the warrior in chief, because again, they're fighting Yemen, Lebanon, Syria, Palestine. And I don't mean the actual country and the governs they're in. I'm referring to their terrorist groups. But unfortunately, you have to say the country because the surrounding innocent civilians are getting killed as well as in Israel. Okay. So again, you have, but what I'm saying, the center of this started with the attack from Hamas on Israel and then the ongoing conflict as war that we see here today. And the only thing that's being lost are thousands of people. So hopefully not only can they come to a ceasefire, but why isn't no one talking about a peace treaty? No one's speaking peace. They just like, oh, before we do peace, we got to do a ceasefire. It's been war in the Middle East for quite some time. Individuals charged in connection with the January 6th Capitol event have filed a significant lawsuit against the Department of Justice. The plaintiffs allege prosecutorial overreach and violation in their constitutional rights, raising important questions about legal processes and civil liberties. So Donald Trump didn't pardon any of these people just yet. Maybe, yeah, he didn't pardon anyone yet. Some of them have not been brought up on charges, but nonetheless, there are some of the Capitol 6 rioters and or protesters. They're incarcerated as we speak. So the people who are yet to be incarcerated are trying to file a lawsuit against the DOJ because they believe that Donald Trump is going to pardon them, because he has hinted that, just as well as Elon Musk. Have you noticed the rhetoric that comes out? A lot of people were stating, especially in the Democratic Party, there were some rumbles in the Republican Party about that Elon Musk is the president and Donald Trump is it. And I put that to shame. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Is that because Elon Musk, we have to remember his fanfare, his star power. You're talking about the richest man in the world. Let me put it more in perspective. We're not just talking about an electric car maker. We're not talking about someone who just made a Cybertruck. We're talking about someone who made his own space exploration company, SpaceX. And he's putting people into space. We're not only talking about that. What about his solar panels that is designed to look like a roof? Not only that, what about his robots that he's made? Did you guys see the small video clip of them on a firing range with a robot? A Cybertrucks pull up. A human being gives one of the Tesla robots a machine gun. He shoots it at the robot shoots it at the Cybertruck. The Tesla robots popped out with their hands up and started to speak and say, I'm okay, I'm okay. It was just very interesting to watch. So again, when we look at and we fathom all the things that Elon Musk is doing, he's doing a lot of other things with tiny homes. He's doing things with tiny homes. That is, I think, the narrative because of his popularity. And he's been talking more with Trump because, again, they're talking about cutting $2 trillion in debt from the debt, the U.S. debt amount. That's a significant amount of money. And they're saying that Doge is only going to be operating for 2 years. I would like to see it. We have never seen a government agency be started and then end in 2 years. I just want to see if it can be done. Okay, I want to see if the $2 trillion can be decreased from the national budget, and I want to see them to close the Department of Government Efficiency. And if they do close it, how long would it be closed if it ever revised again? Because again, if another party comes in, they may think that the Department of Government Efficiency is actually a good idea. It could be Democrats. That would be interesting. A disturbing incident has emerged involving New York prison guards who allegedly beat a handcuffed inmate to death. The case has sparked outrage and calls for thorough investigation into correctional facility practices and accountability measures. I mean, a lot of these people are trumped up on power. They're trumped up on power. And here's from the governor. Like all New Yorkers, I was outraged and horrified after seeing footage of the senseless killing of Robert Brooks. So the brother died. I've been clear that it is the responsibility of the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision to provide appropriate care and protection of those in custody. I will not tolerate anyone who violates the responsibility, blah, 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 blah. She did order a full investigation of the death, and she has been calling for these police officers to be fired. No, let's call for the investigation for the police officers be held without bail until deemed innocent. Oh, that's right. That's right. You're innocent until proven guilty, unless you're a certain type of people. Did I go too far with that? Yeah. you could already be looked at very differently than that. A recent poll indicates that a majority of voters favor an FBI investigation into Representative Liz Cheney's involvement with the January 6th committee. This sentiment reflects ongoing public scrutiny of the committee's actions and the broader political implications. And I've been telling you about this. Remember, I did the broadcast and I was stating that Liz Cheney need to ask for a preemptive pardon from Joe Biden. I just knew it was coming. Again, I just read all day. So again, I just knew it was coming. They really don't like Liz Cheney. They really don't like Liz Cheney. And again, I think Joe Biden is going to pardon her the same way. I don't know if it was it Gerald Ford, but whoever pardoned Nixon, I don't think it was Gerald Ford. I could be right, I could be wrong. But he had a preemptive pardon based on his behavior. That's what they need for Liz Cheney as well. Oh yeah, she's in trouble. But here's somebody else who is in trouble. In a legal development, a Georgia judge has ruled that Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis must testify under oath before the state Senate. The order pertains to alleged misconduct in the Trump RICO case, highlighting the complexities and controversies surrounding the investigation. Oh, Lord, Fannie Willis. I called this one as well, family. I said Fannie Willis is going to need a pardon. She's going to need a pardon, and the only person who can pardon her is Joe Biden. See, you went out there, been a puppet on a string for the Democratic Party, try to hang Donald Trump. And I've been telling all of these people who've been going after Donald Trump, I said, just leave that white man alone. Not only is he very powerful, but he's a former president with the potential of being the next 47th president. You got to leave well off or no. You just have to leave certain things alone. I don't care what status or position. No president is above the law. No president is above the law. But if you really want to weigh your career and weigh your safety, they should have left Donald Trump alone, in my opinion. They should have left Donald Trump alone, in my opinion. Question for you guys. Do you guys believe that the vast majority of immigrants should be deported? And if so, here's an arbitrary number. 13 million illegal immigrants inside of America. How many of the illegal immigrants should be deported? That's a question for the chat. Let me know what you guys think. 13 million illegal immigrants inside of the country. How many of the 13 million illegal immigrants do you support or should be deported? That's the question I have for you guys. Because again, everyone is coming out stating that if we deport all 13 million illegal immigrants, then the economy of America as we know it will fall, because we are in a declining birth rate and we need the extra people to work certain jobs. I'm not going to say just lawn, cutting your grass, construction jobs, farming jobs, industrialized jobs, manufacturing jobs, warehouse jobs. Because here's the thing, majority of Americans, we work in the office. We work from home. We work sitting down majority of the time. Yeah, your job may have you to travel here and there, but majority of our jobs, as far as Americans, they're office jobs. They're real estate jobs. They're contracting jobs, but you're not doing the construction. You see what I'm saying? We mostly deal in business. So who's going to be the demographic that's going to take up a lot of the blue collar jobs, other than the low impoverished whites, other than the low impoverished blacks, other than the low impoverished Hispanics and Asians? Who's going to be those people? Do we give them a natural pathway to citizenship? 6.5 million of them, 5 million of them? These are the questions I have when we navigate the waters of illegal immigration. Because again, Steve Bannon stated something early on. I want to go back to that because I believe that is very, very significant what Steve Bannon was referring to. Because let me just read some of this story. It states here in a stream of posts on the alt tech social platform Gret, former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon warned that billionaire Elon Musk's true colors are showing with the ongoing debate about the H-1B1 visa. Okay, Steve Bannon, he has a lot of clout. I mean, he's not the richest man in the world, but he has a lot of clout. True colors shining through. Bannon captioned a post that included an Oxen article about a MAGA civil war has broken out over race, immigration, and billionaires versus the working class. Then again, this is a good article to read, believe it or not, but I'm gonna just jump down here just a little bit. It said that some of the talks around the H-1B visa program have intensified over the recent days, as some within Trump's close circle have been advocating for removing country-specific caps on green cards to address backlogs faced by applicants from countries including India. And Vivek Ramaswamy came out and said something that, oh, it isn't that, and I'm paraphrasing, and this is the way that I interpret it, it isn't that Americans are lazy. Indians have a different culture than Americans, more for achievement and progression. I'm paraphrasing. The debate started on Sunday after Trump named venture capitalist Saram Kushner as the artificial intelligence policy advisor. Laura Loomer, a Trump loyalist and far-right activist with a history of racist comments, criticized the appointment as deeply disturbing. See, Trump is not as racist as people think. I'm not voting for Trump because he's racist. He's not as racist as people think, according to the claims. Because here's the thing. I believe he has one black person on his cabinet, but I think he has either 3 or 4 Indians from the country of India on his cabinet. And all the white supremacists, I mean, the lily white, I mean, the people who are pro-white comes out and say certain things like Laura Loomer, a Trump loyalist and far-right activist, stated. But now she's facing backlash responding to a post that said the nation was built by immigrants who drove innovation by noting that the United States was built by white Europeans and not third world invaders from India. And both of those are lies. America was not built by immigrants and not by white Europeans. You guys already know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. America was built by the descendants, America was built by foundational Black American ancestors. See, when we talk about the very foundation of America, the first roads, the first buildings, the first railroads, that was all built by Black people. Now, did immigrants come over later and improve and build on top of that? Yes. But we're talking about the first roads being dug, being paved, being laid. We're talking about the first railroad tracks being dug, being laid, being connected. The first tunnels through the mountains that the trains are going through. Who essentially dug those things out after, they put TNT and all those things? Who smoothed those things out and laid the tracks? Who built the Capitol, the White House? It was Black people. So when I see things like this, it no longer, I used to say, this really chaps my hide, but it really doesn't. We just have to know the truth and how they present these lies. Because she responded to a post that said the nation was built by immigrants who drove innovation by noting that the United States was built by white Europeans and not third world invaders from India. And it wasn't even built by white Europeans. Now, it's kind of like when I think about when people make this claim, it's similar to how we look at business today. If I own a slave and or as they label Black people back in the day as property, then anything they touch, anything they do, I can take credit for. Take, for instance, Elon Musk, richest man in the world, Tesla, SpaceX, solar panels, electric cars, all these things that he's doing. Bravo, the Nothing Company, or the flame thrower he made. Do you believe that Elon Musk has designed every single tech gadget, spaceship, every panel? No, he has not. He has a team of engineers. He has a team of scientists. He have a team of developers and electrical and mechanical and software engineers. He have this conglomerate of different people, but he takes all the credit because he's the CEO, founder, and owner of Tesla, SpaceX, etc. So when you think about the way they word things, this is about ownership and how they're not going to give credit to a slave. They're not going to give credit to Black people who actually did the work and did the designing of it. When I went to Louisiana for my birthday, my wife took me to Louisiana, never been. And she know I love history. She did a tour that was on a plantation. And on this plantation, I forgot the name. I should get that name out to you guys of the plantation altogether, because they had a list of all their slaves. It was a lot of them throughout the course of time. And believe me, you can actually figure out who's a quote unquote freedman because the list in black, I think I have that picture. I may show you guys here. If you bear with me, I'm going to go inside my records here, but I think I'm going to try to find, because there was a lot of names on it. And I did look this up before for you guys. So I'm going to see if I can just do a quick check of this plantation that I was on. Let me see here. It was a plantation I was on. I went to a bayou. I think I have it for you guys. Give me a second here. Let me share my screen. I told you I was going to hang out a little bit longer tonight. Let's see here. Let's see here. So currently, I'm in Louisiana, in the St. Charles Parish, and we're at the Deshaun, I think that's how you pronounce it, plantation. So let me spin it around here. These are some of the slave quarters. I'm pretty sure that they rebuild them. Hi. I'm pretty sure a lot of people died on these grounds. This is one of the major plantations where the 1811 slave revolt happened, and of course the slave revolt was unsuccessful. During that slave revolt, supposedly a lot of people have died. I don't have an actual number. The tour that we're on, the first hour, we get to freelance and look at a lot of the exterior buildings, some of the slave quarters as well, because the tour only covers Now, with that slave result, it was this slave result was a very large slave result in Louisiana that a lot of people don't know the history on, because they hidden the history. They didn't want anybody to know about this because they didn't want to motivate other slaves to join in. The house itself, I wonder if we can go inside. Unless they rebuild it or something. Now, I was trying to find a part for you guys where there's a list of all of our names. Let me see. I think I found it. Give me 1 second here. These are some of the slaves that they have on it. Let me see if I can skip through this. Let's see here. Here we go. All right, this is the room where there was a list of a lot of freedmen on the wall on this plantation. And I was just scanning over the names. I found my last name. You will find your last name. Let me see if I can speed to that. Here it is. Freedmen and refugees living in that particular part. Let me see if I can scan over a little bit. A lot of these names are from their slave masters. And again, you'll know when people have certain last names. And there was a lot of last names that were essentially French that I didn't know there were slave names that they could still be essentially American or freemen rather. And again, this was a lot of people they had on here. And what do you see in red? What you see in red here, let me see if I can blow this up. What you see in red here is how old they were when they died. Look at Peter at 103, but also look at Jeffrey Bates at 5, Ella Bates at 1. These are our ancestors, okay? Let me see if I can find, look at the last name, Bowden, Bickwell. I didn't know a lot, Bentley. I didn't know a lot of these names were American freedmen names. So this was really eye-opening to me. I'm just going down the list here. Of course, Brown, Buford, Burgess, Butler, Edward Edmonds, Matilda Davis, Molly Davis. A lot of these old school names, Dabner. Again, I'm just running through these very quickly. Nancy Fever, okay, Fion, that's the name. Fellison, Fallong. A lot of these names you don't hear today. So that would have me believe that not only did the slave masters' family line die off, so did their slaves, okay? Now, a lot of these names I'm just not familiar with. Hampton, Harold, let's see what else. Harrison. I'm trying to get to my last. Let's see. Kevin's. Look at his name right here. Artemis Chemivals King, which is a large part of my family. I have a lot of kings in my family. Last name King. Kemp. So, you know, Sean Kemp was definitely a freedman. Amanda Kemp, Elsa Kelsey, Martin, McKeenan, McVeigh, Metley. Again, I'm just going through these very quickly, okay? And now here's, look, Richard, Riley, Roach, Rollins, Ross, Rowe, Reynolds. I know it's kind of blurred on your side. Sam, Salton. So again, you look at all these names, family, and these are our ancestors. These are freedmen's. Of course, there's they had a lot of stuff, and these are actual slaves that were the freedmen and refugees that was living at the Rose Home Colony. And this was only between 1865 and 1866. Look how many slaves were there. And look how many of them died. Cambridge Smith died at 100. Peter Shelby died at 90. Sarah Swan died at 1. The list goes on and on. Like it was crazy. These was a lot of names. Of course, there was a ton of Williamses. But yeah, this was my time at the St. Forgot the actual plantation name, but the St. Paris Parish in New Orleans. So again, yeah, that was my time there. So I look at this in a very analytical, minute manner to a point where we built the foundation of America, but no one ever gives us credit. You'll even have immigrants. You have Irish. You will have who else? You usually have the Irish, not Chinese, but I'll say Asian. I was thinking about the Chinese Exclusion Act because a lot of China men, a lot of China women came over and they did start to build the railroad. But again, what's significant about this is that they started to build the railroad almost 90-something years after Black Americans already built the Eastern Seaboard Railroad. So again, we don't get the credit that deserved. But my question to you is, 13 million illegal immigrants may hurt the economy of America when it comes to food deserts, farms, manufacturing, construction. Should we give half of them a pathway to citizenship? Should we deport them all? Should we have them go outside the wall and stand in line so they can get back inside the wall so we can record them all? Just asking questions. But nonetheless, I thank you for joining me this evening. You guys have a great and wonderful Friday. I'll see you guys on the next one. This is Black Logic.